As Harry Potter was being sorted into Ravenclaw, Stacy Snape and Julia Black, who were fourth-year Gryffindors, observed the newcomers being sorted into their respective houses. "Check it out, Jules," Stacy said with a smile on his face. "Fresh meat." "You say that as if it's a bad thing," said Julia. "That's because it is a bad thing," Jaden Rose, a third-year Gryffindor, said as he sat beside his cousins. "All we do is sit here and judge all the incoming and outgoing students. Such a shame that we have to stay here while they get to go home for the holidays," said Julia. "Yeah, and that too," said Jaden. As they watched the sorting, they gasped in shock as their 10-year-old cousin Alexander Ulrich chose to go to Slytherin instead of Gryffindor. "I don't believe it," said Julia. "Sandy chose Slytherin." "At least he's not here in Gryffindor with us," said Jaden. "You know that Jonathan chose Hufflepuff and Bettany chose Ravenclaw." "I'm not surprised, considering that more children are choosing to go to Slytherin instead of Gryffindor," said Stacy. "Who knows," said Julia. "I bet many of them were instructed to avoid Dumbledore and his special house." "I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, to be honest," said Stacy. "Who cares about Dumbledore anyway," said Jaden. "I just hope that someone out there has the courage to humble him a bit." Yet, the three cousins had no idea that they would soon be involved in the story of a young boy named Harry Potter. Meanwhile, Harry was speaking with Phil, Eleanor, and Duncan when Candace approached them. She said, "Believe it or not, everyone around here is talking about you, Harry." "Is this true?" said Harry. "Are they seriously talking about me as if I'm some sort of celebrity that they all know about?" "You bet they are," said Candace. "Everyone around here is talking about how you should have been sorted into Gryffindor instead of Ravenclaw." "I see," Harry said, frowning as he glanced around the Great Hall. Everyone else was eating and talking, and no one seemed to notice him at all. If they did not say anything. Just then, he looked up and saw Agnes waving to him from the Gryffindor table. Yet, the way she waved at him seemed very revealing. Harry asked her, "What's going on here?" Agnes said, "I don't want to alarm you, but you know who is here." Harry nodded as he looked up and saw Patrick Harvey staring at him, tears streaming down his face. He had a small group of followers surrounding him. The kids in question were glaring at Harry. Phil noticed the stare-off and asked, "What's going on, Harry?" "Who is that boy?" said Eleanor. "Oh, he's Patrick Harvey," Harry said as the others turned back to their table. "A long time ago, he lived with the Dursley family until he and I switched places during a trip to the London Zoo. I discovered that the Dursleys had abused Patrick, so I decided to make them suffer the consequences for hurting him." "So, you beat them up?" asked Eleanor. "No, I just made them regret what they did," said Harry. "I gave the Dursleys a taste of their own medicine." Phil nodded and said, "I see. To be honest, I destroyed them to the point where they were begging for mercy," said Harry. "I taught them that it wasn't right to hurt an innocent orphan boy, even if Dumbledore had wanted them to." He looked up and saw Dumbledore staring at him. The older man seemed to be afraid of him. As he should be, Harry thought to himself. Dumbledore knows that I'm aware of his secrets, and he knows that I won't hesitate to use those secrets against him. He knows his time is up, and if he thought that sending me to the Dursleys would make me into his perfect soldier, then he was sorely mistaken. "What happened next?" asked Eleanor. Just then, Harry felt a sharp poke in his back. He turned around and saw several children from the Slytherin table staring at him. "What is this?" he cried out. "Is today everyone's stare at Harry Potter Day? Because if it is, we're just taking a closer look at you to determine if you are actually Slytherin material," said Draco Malfoy. "Judging by your appearance, you must have made quite an impression on the sorting hat to be sorted into Ravenclaw." "So what if I did?" said Harry. "You should know, there's no way I would join Dumbledore's favorite house." "And why didn't you join Slytherin?" a young boy said as he stared at Harry. "You should know that Slytherin is his least favorite house." "I'm not sure about that," said Harry. "How could Dumbledore favor one Hogwarts house over the others? Isn't that illegal?" "I'm not sure, but I think he favors Gryffindor, because Slytherin has produced the most dark wizards in wizarding history," said Draco Malfoy. "Well, you should know that if you're going to make a point about Dumbledore favoring one house over another, then there's no way in hell I would ever join his favorite house," said Harry. "You're a Ravenclaw," said Malfoy. "Yes, I am," Harry said as he began laughing. "And to be honest with you, I'm proud of it." "Indeed you are," 10-year-old Sandy Ulrich said as he faced Harry. "And in any other case, favoring one group of people over another is illegal, unless the headmaster is Dumbledore." His 12-year-old sister, Mona, a fifth-year Slytherin student, nodded in agreement. "My sister Mona claims that Dumbledore is deceitful, and he will trick you into believing his lies. You can't trust him, no matter what you do." Stacy frowned as he said, "Our cousin is right. Dumbledore is a terrible monster, and you can't trust him." "Why am I not surprised?" said Harry. "You should know that men like him will do anything and everything to get what they want. And usually, what they want is morally questionable." "I see," said Stacy. "But here's a word about my father." "You mean, the guy with black hair talking to the guy wearing a turban?" Harry said as he pointed in the general direction of Professor Snape and Professor Quirrell. Both men looked up and stared at Harry for a moment before resuming their conversation. "That's Professor Snape," said Julia. "Many people have said over the years that he's mean and nasty and doesn't have a single ounce of kindness in his bones, but I don't think so. All I know is that if you do the work and don't fool around in his class, he won't bother you." "I'll take that into consideration," Harry said, glancing around the Great Hall. At the same time, Nicholas approached Severus Snape and said, "It looks like our plan has worked. Harry Potter is in Ravenclaw instead of Gryffindor." "Good," said Snape. "But there is the matter of how long we can keep him in Ravenclaw," said Nicholas. "Right now, Dumbledore is plotting to find a way to persuade Harry to join Gryffindor, and we must be prepared for his attempts. Our goal is to ensure that Harry remains in Ravenclaw, where his potential can be nurtured and directed towards a different path." Severus Snape's dark eyes narrowed as he contemplated the situation. "Dumbledore's influence is strong, and he will not easily give up on his desire to have Harry placed in Gryffindor," he said. "We must be cautious and utilize every means at our disposal to protect Harry from his manipulations." Nicholas nodded in agreement. "I have been researching ancient protective enchantments that can ward off external influences. Additionally, I believe we should seek the assistance of Professor Flitwick. His expertise in charms and magical defenses could prove invaluable." "Agreed," Snape said. "Flitwick's involvement will enhance our chances of success. We must also closely monitor Harry, watching for any signs of emotional distress or vulnerability that Dumbledore might exploit. As much as it pains me, Severus, we must consider revealing a portion of the truth to Harry," Nicholas suggested. "If he understands the importance of staying in Ravenclaw and the potential dangers linked to Gryffindor, he may become more cautious in safeguarding his thoughts and choices." Snape hesitated, his expression conflicted. "Revealing the truth could also backfire, Nicholas. We tread a delicate line between protecting Harry and revealing too much about the intricacies of our plans." "Indeed, it is a risky path," Nicholas acknowledged. "But we must remember, Severus, that we are dealing with a young and resilient mind. Harry has faced great challenges before, and with the right guidance, he can navigate this trial as well." "Very well," Snape conceded, his tone resolute. We shall proceed cautiously and judiciously. Our priority is Harry's well-being and his potential to shape a different destiny. As the two wizards continued to strategize, their determination to divert Harry's destiny from its predestined path grew stronger. Little did they know that the challenges ahead would not only test their magical abilities, but also challenge their unwavering belief in the power of choice and free will. As for Agnes, she was glad to see her friends Abigail Beaufort and Julian Olsen, as they were sorted into Gryffindor as she was. Abigail said to her, "I heard that you got Patrick away from those horrible people." "It's true," said Agnes. "Nicholas recruited Harry Potter to pretend to be Patrick, so we could sneak Patrick away from the Dursleys. But Patrick is still sick and he needs to recover." "I've noticed," said Julian. "I don't know why Dumbledore insisted that he come here when he should be recovering from the years of abuse that he had inflicted on him. But at least we can trust Harry to do the right thing." "Harry went into Ravenclaw, which is a good thing," said Abigail. "But I can't help but wonder how long that's going to last. Hopefully, Dumbledore will be distracted with the beginning of this school term long enough to let Harry fully establish himself in Ravenclaw," said Agnes. "If not, then we can think of something that could keep him out of Gryffindor without having to have him switch houses." "Or maybe you could be the hero that the wizarding world needs," said Abigail. "After all, you helped Harvey Parkinson escape from my cousin Bailey and put him behind bars, even though I'm still not happy about my parents being sent to jail because of him, and you saved Julian from a similar fate." They smiled as they waved to Harvey, who was in Hufflepuff, and he waved back. "Think about it, Ag. While Dumbledore is trying to make Patrick into a hero, he doesn't even know that the real hero is hiding under his very nose. And that's how he's going to lose," said Agnes. "He'll never get his victory, not as long as I'm around." "And that's the biggest tragedy of all," said Julian. "Albus Dumbledore was so hell-bent on making a hero out of Harry Potter that he forgot that anyone can be a hero. If you or Patrick become the true hero of this story, the narrative will take a twist that Dumbledore never saw coming."